ambassador and the envoy of Imam al-Hussein, Muslim ibn Aqil, is revered and respected by millions of people around the world today. His life demonstrates a number of important values and principles, and it is indeed quite important and crucial for us to be able to have an understanding of his illustrious life and achievements, his stance, why the people of Kufa stood against him, and indeed what lessons can be learned from his life. In order to have an understanding of Muslim ibn Aqil and his life, let's begin by looking at the forefathers of Muslim. Indeed, when we come to look at Muslim, his father was Aqil and his grandfather was Abu Talib, the believing uncle of the Holy Prophet, who sacrificed so much for the religion of Islam and died as a believer. Indeed, when you look at the family and their reputation and how they were known in society back then, they were respected as a family which were noble, truthful, and an integral part of the society in Mecca. Aqil ibn Abi Talib was beloved to his father. One of the distinguishing features of Aqil was that he was a powerful poet. If you look at Aqil ibn Abi Talib, a man who was beloved to his father, an individual who is known for a number of attributes, he had a strong grasp of the Arabic language. Narrations tell us that in the mosque of the Holy Prophet, Aqil would sit, and around him many would sit, seeking lessons in the Arabic language. Together with this, he was renowned for his knowledge on lineages and the ancestries. And in other words, genealogy was something of his expertise. People would come to him, ask him about certain families, asking him about tribes. And therefore we find that sometimes Bani Umayyah, specifically Muawiyah, would not wish for Aqil to talk about the forefathers of Muawiyah and Abi Sufyan. What Aqil was known, of course, is the important and significant story whereby the commander of the faithful, Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi, asks him to suggest a family for Imam alayhi salam to marry into, so that a son can be born that will sacrifice his life with Imam al-Hussein on the 10th of Muharram. Aqil suggested the Kilabi tribe, specifically Fatima bint Hizam al-Kilabiyya, because he said the family is renowned for its valor and its courage. Aqil died perhaps at the time of the rulership of Muawiyah, and his grave is found in Medina, specifically in Jannatul Baqi'. He loved his son Muslim, and of course the mother of Muslim ibn Aqil was a servant whom, according to some narrations which are rejected and unacceptable, Aqil sought the help of Muawiyah in purchasing. However, the reason why we reject these traditions, which somehow lessen and reduce the status of Muslim as well as Aqil, is the fact that historically it cannot be accepted that Aqil would seek a wife when he was blind and before he passed away, so that Muslim will be born, because the narration states that Aqil wanted this woman, but she was expensive, and Muawiyah somehow helped him. Yet the reality is, when we examine the date of the birth of Muslim, we find that he was born either in year 34, 36 or most likely 38 after Hijrah. Hence, it is not possible for his father Aqil to have purchased that slave woman and at the same time for Muslim to have been born in those specific years. Why? Because some narration suggests that Muslim was there with Imam Ali alayhi salam in Siffin. If you were to examine the characteristics, the features of Muslim ibn Aqil, we of course understand that in the common perception of people, a messenger, an ambassador, an envoy of an individual represents them. That individual, when they are sent to a place, should display the morals and the characteristics of the person that they are representing. Hence, the term is applied to this particular idea, that the messenger is indicative of the characteristics of the person sending the message. Muslim ibn Aqil and his characteristics can be understood when it comes to the decision by Imam al-Hussein salamullahi alayhi to choose him as his envoy to the people of Kufa. He was known as a forbearant one, a courageous one, a patient individual, an eloquent person whom indeed people rallied around and at the same time revered and respected. As for the family of Muslim ibn Aqil, there is a difference of opinion with regards to his wives. However, we are told that he married Ruqayya, the daughter of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Then after he married Ruqayyatu al-Sughra, who was in Karbala, as well as perhaps another lady who was a servant. Muslim ibn Aqil had 4 sons and 1 daughter. His daughter Hamida, when she heard the martyrdom of her father, she was in Karbala. And according to the narrations, Imam al-Hussein, peace and blessings be upon him, came to her and placed his holy hands on her head, informing her that she indeed is an orphan and he will look after her, and from that moment he will be like her father. As far as the sons of Muslim is concerned, narrations inform us about the 4 sons, 2 of whom were killed with Imam al-Hussein on the 10th of Muharram, and 2 who later escaped and at the same time were martyred. Abdullah ibn Muslim ibn Aqil, the oldest son of Muslim, he was a brave man despite being in his youthful age. Abdullah would represent the family of Muslim ibn Aqil in the best possible way. We are told that he fought very courageously, and on the night of Ashura, when Imam al-Hussein says to his family and his companions that indeed you have demonstrated loyalty, and I do not know of more faithful and loyal companions than you, one of the first to emerge to speak and to support the cause of Abu Abdullah was Abdullah ibn Muslim, who came forward and said, Ya ibn Rasulullah, we will never leave you, we will never abandon you, after hearing the suggestion from the Imam that he should, and the family of Muslim have already been shaken by the news of the martyrdom of Muslim ibn Aqil, therefore they are free to go and do not necessarily have to fight in the battlefield on the day of Ashura. Abdullah ibn Muslim killed many of the enemy combatants, the army of Umar ibn Sa'ad, on the 10th of Muharram. Tens were killed by this young man, and finally he attained martyrdom. The second of the sons of Muslim to fight was Muhammad ibn Muslim. His mother was a servant, and according to narrations he also fought bravely and killed 17 of the army of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad until he was martyred. Yet the story of the two sons of Muslim is indeed heart-rending and brings sadness to the souls. The story of the two sons of Muslim is indeed heart-rending and brings grief to many people. They were known as Ibrahim and Muhammad, or in some narrations, Ibrahim and Abdul Rahman. There are different versions of the story, yet it is likely that when the tents of Imam al-Hussein were raided and attacked after Abu Abdullah was finally killed on the 10th of Muharram, we are told that they ran away in fear, not knowing which direction to go. They kept running and running until they reached an area known as Musayyib in Iraq today. They were found next to some water and taken by a lady who wanted to look after them. Indeed, narrations say that her husband discovered them, found them and handed them over to the tyrant Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad, who executed them. Today, their shrine is found and is visited by many people in the city of Musayyib. Muslim ibn Aqil had 5 brothers who fought bravely on the plains of Karbala on the 10th of Muharram and attained martyrdom. Of course, they were determined to avenge the blood of Muslim, but that was not their primary objective. The reason that they fought was to save the religion of Islam and to support the Imam of their time. The brothers of Muslim who were martyred on the 10th of Muharram were Aun, Ali al-Akbar, Musa, Muhammad, as well as Abdul Rahman. Of course, Muslim ibn Aqil was loved by the Ahl al-Bayt. At the same time, we have a narration from the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, narrated in the book Al-Amali for Shaykh al-Saduq, in which it is said that Imam Ali alayhi salam informed the Holy Prophet, "Do you love Aqil?" The Prophet responded, "I wallah, inni la'uhibbuhu hubban lahu wa hubban li Abi Talib." I love him because of himself, and at the same time because I love my uncle Abu Talib. وَإِنَّ وَلَدَهُ الْمَقْتُولِ فِي مَحَبَّةِ وَلْدِكَ فَتَدْمَعُ عَلَيْهِ عُيُونُ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. His son indeed will be killed with your son, and the eyes of the believers will shed tears and will cry for them. وَتُصَلِّي عَلَيْهِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ الْمُقَرَّبُونَ. And the angels which have attained close proximity will indeed pray for him. At that moment, the Prophet cried until the tears fell on his holy cheeks and says, "Allahumma inni ashku ilayka ma talqa atrati min ba'di." He said, "Oh Allah, I complain to you of what my family will endure after me." Rajab, 60 years after Hijrah, the news of the death of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan is delivered to the governor in Medina, Walid ibn Utbah. At that moment, he is commanded to summon Imam al-Hussein so that Imam gives allegiance to Yazid, the son of Muawiyah. Imam refuses defiantly. He says, "Someone like me cannot give allegiance to someone like Yazid." Why? He is wretched. He is an individual who drinks intoxicants publicly, kills innocent souls, and indeed he causes and spreads corruption. Therefore, Imam declared the purpose and the motive behind his uprising: to reform the ummah of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him and his holy progeny, to awaken the conscience of the ummah and to take the direction and the religion of Islam back to its pure and pristine form. He begins to receive letters from the people of Kufa. thousands of letters are received by Imam as he sets off towards Mecca. In Mecca, he decides to dispatch Muslim ibn Aqil towards the people of Kufa. The letter that Imam al-Hussein writes to the people of Kufa demonstrates the position that was enjoyed by Muslim ibn Aqil. The letter states, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. From Hussein, the son of Ali, to the people, the believing men and women, and the Muslims. This is to let you know that I have received your books, and I am pleased to see your willingness to support me and to rise for the truth and justice. And then he says, وَقَدْ بَعَثْتُ إِلَيْكُمْ أَخِي. Now I am sending you my brother. This is the first thing that Imam al-Hussein mentions about Muslim. وَابْنَ عَمِّي. And indeed, my cousin, وَثِقَتِي مِنْ أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. And the one whom I trust from my family, Muslim ibn Aqil. And I have asked him to write to me about your affairs, about your state. For if he writes that indeed you are all united in this stance and that you are ready for this particular movement, then I will make my way towards you. And then he says, then no, the true Imam of the time is the one who works in accordance with the book of Allah and rules with justice, and indeed spreads truthfulness, and at the same time is an individual who obeys Allah in all commands and does not transgress. Wassalam. This was an important letter that Imam al-Hussein had given to Muslim ibn Aqil, highlighting that Imam truly trusted Muslim, and he saw in Muslim the important qualities and the characteristics needed in order to prepare the ground in Kufa for the movement and the arrival of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein alayhi salam. Muslim ibn Aqil took the letter of Imam al-Hussein, moved towards Kufa. On the way, he passed by Medina. He paid his final respects at the shrine of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, and began his journey to the city of Kufa. He had two companions who would show him the way, yet however, due to the extreme heat and the thirst and the fact that it was difficult to find the right way in the desert, they both died. He wrote a letter to Imam al-Hussein explaining what has happened and the fact that he has survived. Imam al-Hussein encourages him to continue. He says that I have chosen you specifically, therefore I want you to continue on your journey until you get to Kufa. And the Imam wanted him to inform him of the progress of the people in that city. A question is posed here: why Kufa? Why did Imam al-Hussein send Muslim ibn Aqil towards this city, despite of course the previous experiences with his holy father Amir al-Mu'mineen, his brother Imam al-Hasan? Number one, Imam received thousands of letters, and he had to be seen to respond to these individuals. For history to record that he did not ignore them. He's an Imam who's compassionate and listens to the people. And because they wanted to rise up against injustice, Imam would respond to their pleas and to their requests. Of course, if the people of Kufa had not written to Imam al-Hussein, he would still have staged the uprising. He did not need the people of Kufa to invite him to do so. And the proof for this is that as soon as the governor of Medina wanted the allegiance from Imam, Imam said, I will not give it. And he indeed categorically rejected this particular request, irrespective of whether at that moment he had not received any letters from the people of Kufa. Let's not forget also that Kufa was very well known as a city with many tribes, and it was prominent in terms of the existence of many companions, many reciters of the Quran, narrators of hadith. And with Basra, it was known as the two major cities by which geographically and strategically one would be able to find the ripe conditions for a movement such as this to begin. Muslim ibn Aqil left Mecca mid-month of Ramadan, 60 AH, and reached the city of Kufa in the month of Shawwal. When he reached Al-Kufa, he resided in the house of Al-Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid al-Thaqafi. Why the house of Mukhtar? Number one, Mukhtar was a loyal supporter of the Ahl al-Bayt, a brave warrior who welcomed Muslim ibn Aqil and gathered support for him. And number two, Mukhtar was married to the daughter of the Kufan governor at that time, and Nu'man ibn Bashir. Therefore, Muslims saw that the house of Mukhtar at the outset to be a good place to begin his movement. This is where the heads of the Ashraf, the noblemen of Kufa, the prominent Shia, the supporters of the Ahl al-Bayt, gathered in their hundreds and sometimes, in accordance to traditions, thousands, to come to give their allegiance to Muslim ibn Aqil and Imam al-Hussein. One by one, they came to demonstrate that indeed what they wrote was true, and they're preparing to reject the Umayyad rule of Yazid ibn Muawiyah. After addressing them, they came to a Muslim. For instance, Abis ibn Abi Shabib al-Shakiri comes and says, after praising Allah, he says, by God, I cannot tell you about the intentions of the people, and I don't know what's inside them, but I can tell you about myself. By God, I will fight with you, and I will never reject you, and I will stay with you and fight with my sword until I meet my Lord. Habib ibn Mudahir said the same thing. There were continuous sessions whereby people demonstrated their allegiances towards Muslim ibn Aqil. There was a book, a registry book, whereby people write down their names and indeed declare their support for Muslim ibn Aqil. That book had the name of 12,000 in accordance with some narrations. We are told that after receiving so much support, Muslim ibn Aqil wrote to Imam al-Hussein, telling him that thousands have demonstrated that they're willing to rise up. Therefore, he should continue in his journey and come towards Kufa. But at the same time, Bani Umayyah were very displeased with the governor of Al-Kufa and Nu'man ibn Bashir. Umar ibn Sa'ad writes a letter to Yazid ibn Muawiyah informing him of the situation, that Muslim ibn Aqil had gathered support. Several others do the same. Yazid seeks the advice of the advisor of his father, Sir John, who tells him, make Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad the governor of Kufa, so that he can hold a firm grip on the situation and indeed will be better than Nu'man. Yazid fulfills that advice, and Nu'man ibn Bashir is displaced. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad is commanded to go towards Kufa. He takes 500 men, disguises himself enters Kufa. People believe that he's Imam al-Hussein, goes to Qasr al-Imara, the palace of governance, and removes an-Nu'man. Thereafter, he begins a campaign of terror, a campaign of bribery, a campaign of imprisonment against the supporters of Muslim ibn Aqil. Yet indeed, Muslim ibn Aqil then moved to the house of Hani ibn Urwa, another famous Kufan and a supporter of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim as-salam. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad attempts to understand the movement and the plans of Muslim ibn Aqil and the Shia in general. He plants a spy by the name of Ma'qal in the house of Hani, who disguises himself as a supporter of Muslim, sits and listens and takes reports to Ubaydullah. Finally, Hani ibn Urwa is taken to the palace against his will and is confronted with this when he recognizes that Ma'qal, that man who was a hypocrite, was a spy for Ubaydullah, admits that Muslim ibn Aqil was in his house, but would not give him and surrender him to Ubaydullah. Ubaydullah hits Hani on his face, injuring him and thereafter imprisoning him. The situation in Kufa was tense. The tribe of Hani ibn Urwa, the Murad tribe, gather. They surround the palace, demanding that Hani ibn Urwa is released. Qadi Shurayh comes out in accordance with the instructions of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad and tells them that Hani is fine. In the meantime, Muslim ibn Aqil had to advance his plans for the declaration of the uprising. Al-Mukhtar ibn Abi Ubaid al-Thaqafi, others may not have been in Kufa. They were outside rallying support, but Mukhtar saw the opportunity at that moment. The cry of Ya Mansur Amit, which was used to declare the rise and the movement and its commencing, can be heard. The palace was surrounded by Muslim ibn Aqil and the supporters and the Shia, but he did not charge inside. Why? It was because inside there were civilians and others who may have been hurt. At the same time, Muslim had planned to continue to gather support and to somehow drain the resources that Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad had inside the palace, and therefore would hope that Ubaydullah would somehow surrender. But Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad was a shrewd politician. What he did was he gathered some tribal leaders. He paid them some money. At the same time, he started to let people know that there was an imminent army advancing from Syria towards Kufa. It was the army of Yazid, and they, the people of Kufa, will be obliterated and defeated if they supported Muslim ibn Aqil. As time went by, the number of people who had surrounded the palace reduced. Women would come and take their men. Mothers would advise their sons to stay away, and Muslim had to abandon this mission temporarily. At the same time, we are told that Muslim had an opportunity earlier to kill and finish off his enemy Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad. Yet because of his integrity and high standard of morality, he did not do so. Because when Muslim was staying in the house of Shurayh, another of the noble men of Kufa, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad came to ask about his health. Shurayh was ill. Shurayh said to Muslim, "Why do you not hide behind a curtain? And when I give you a sign, come out and strike this enemy of Allah, finish him once and for all, and finally you have Kufa all for yourself." Yet despite sending him signs, Muslim ibn Aqil did not emerge. Later on, Muslim said, that a believer does not practice treachery. And at the same time, the wife of Hani ibn Urwa had requested from Muslim that this does not happen. Therefore, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad left unharmed. But of course, the neck was getting tighter around the supporters of Muslim. They were reducing in number as time passed. Ubaydullah purchased many, imprisoned others like Maytham al-Tammar and later al-Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. Finally, Muslim ibn Aqil saw that his support was very few. He came on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah in the Masjid al-Kufa to perform his prayers. After the evening Isha prayers, he looked around and there were no supporters. He wandered around the alleyways and the streets of Kufa, not knowing what to do. There was so much fear that Ubaydullah had spread across Kufa that once again the Kufans had betrayed the Ahl al-Bayt. Muslim ibn Aqil reaches the house of a lady by the name of Taw'a. He sits outside. This lady comes out. She is waiting for her son. She finds Muslim. She asks him, "Why is it that you're sitting here?" He says, "I am thirsty and I need some water." Taw'a brings water. He drinks, yet he's still sitting. She says to him, "O servant of Allah, do you not have a house to go to, family to return to?" He says, "No, I am a stranger in Al-Kufa." He says, "Who are you?" She says to him, he replies, "I am Muslim ibn Aqil, the ambassador of Hussein ibn Ali." She recognizes who Muslim was, invites him to her house, allows him to stay in one particular room. That night, Muslim ibn Aqil spent his time in worship, remembrance of Allah. In his dream, he saw Amir al-Mu'mineen, who said to him, "You will join us very soon." The son of Taw'a came inside, noticed his mother going back and forth into that room, inquired what was happening. His mother took an oath from him that he would not disclose anything. He gave that covenant. Yet, of course, when she told him that it was Muslim, he decided to inform Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad and violate the oath that he had given to his mother. Before Fajr, on the 9th of Dhul Hijjah, 60 AH, this man goes to Qasr al-Imara, informs Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad that Muslim ibn Aqil is in his house. Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad had placed a price tag on Muslim ibn Aqil, and indeed would reward anyone who would bring information about where he was. As soon as he heard that Muslim was in the house of Taw'a, he sent Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath with an army to capture Muslim. When Muslim was in the house, he heard the advancing troops towards the house, and he recognized that they had surrounded that area. He came out, thanked Taw'a for her help and her support for the cause of the Ahl al-Bayt. And then he fought like a lion of Allah. Allama Majlisi says that not only did he dislodge the door of the house of Taw'a, but the charging army members, he would hold them one by one and throw them onto the roof of the house. This was the extent of the bravery of the son of Aqil. He fought bravely. He killed many of the army of Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad until Muhammad ibn al-Ash'ath sought reinforcement. Ubaydullah said, "This was just one individual. How is it that you need more?" The response of Muhammad was, "This is not just any Kufan. This is the son of Abu Talib, who is indeed a brave warrior." The only way that they were able to capture Muslim ibn Aqil was by planting a trap. Once he fell into that trap, they took him away. Whilst taking him away, they saw that he was weeping and crying. They said to him, "You fought so bravely. Why is it that you're crying? Is it the fear of death?" He said, "No, by Allah, it is not death. Al-Hussein, my master, is approaching Kufa and he is unaware of the betrayal of its inhabitants." He stood outside the Qasr al-Amara. He was extremely thirsty. A man by the name of Abdullah ibn Umru had some water. Muslim said to him, "Let me drink." Abdullah said, "By God, you will not drink a single drop until you feel the heat in Jahannam, in hellfire." Muslim said, "You are threatening me with hellfire, whereas you are more deserving of it." Another individual felt sorry for Muslim, bought some water, and as much as Muslim tried to drink, he was unable to do so because of the fact that his lips and his teeth were broken and indeed were bleeding profusely. The blood will mix with the water. And he said that it is the will of Allah that I meet him thirsty. Indeed, he did so just like how Imam al-Hussein, his family and his companions. He's taken inside the palace. He does not greet Ubaydullah. This enrages the Kufan governor. He says to him that I will kill you, a killing not seen before. Muslim says, "This is befitting of you. However, I have a will that I wish to pass on to Umar ibn Sa'd." Umar at the beginning does not want to do anything. Umar ibn Sa'd declines to accept the will of Muslim ibn Aqil. Yet later on comes to listen to him at the request of Ubaydullah. The will of Muslim ibn Aqil was to settle some financial loans and at the same time to inform Imam al-Hussein that the people of Kufa had turned against him and for him not to come to this city. Umar ibn Sa'd said, "I will not get this message to Hussein." And he disclosed the will to the people who were there. Finally, Ubaydullah ibn Ziyad commands that Muslim ibn Aqil is taken to the roof of Qasr al-Amara, the governance palace, and beheaded. When he is taken there, the man who beheaded him states that he was invoking the name of Allah, seeking forgiveness, remembering the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala. And before I beheaded him, the man states, he asked for time to perform 2 units of prayer. When he finished, he looked towards the direction of Medina and sent his salutations upon the Imam of his time, Imam al-Hussein, peace and blessings be upon him. At that moment, Muslim ibn Aqil was beheaded. His head and his body was thrown from the top of the roof of the palace onto the ground, later on dragged across the streets on Kufa and placed for people to see. Muslim ibn Aqil, an individual who indeed has left a long-lasting legacy, a man who many of us can learn from in terms of lessons regarding loyalty, integrity, honesty, patience, valor, courage, as well as, of course, the following of the Ahl al-Bayt. Peace and blessings be upon Muslim ibn Aqil on the day he was born, on the day he was martyred, and on the day that he will be resurrected.
This is my last prayer, Hussein, don't come here. Your head shall be raised high upon a spear, and on the dust your head shall be high upon a spear, and on the dust your head shall be high upon a spear. I am Muslim, oh my master, you had sent me to Kufa In my hand I held your banner and the sword of your father. By these people I was attacked and my blood flowed like water. My last words are to you, Hussein. My last words are to you, Hussein. Do not come to Karbala. Do not come to Karbala. It's a land of death. They hate and loathe you. And with my last breath, Hussein, I warn you. Hussein, I warn you. All they want from you is your death. Hussein, I warn you. All they want from you is your death. Hussein, I warn you. My tears upon you, they have flowed, knowing what they all intend. I can't bear knowing my master Hussein will come to an end. Hussein will come to an end. In Kufa I went door to door, begging them with my two hands, begging them with my two hands. I came seeking justice and truth, but to my death I was sent, but to my death I was sent, but to my death I was sent. Why do they hate me? I tried to help them. I tried to help them. They attacked me and they killed my children. Oh, how it breaks my heart to know they killed my children. Oh, how it breaks my heart to know they killed my children. I am but minutes from my death, and they ask me a question. Do you have any final words before your death shall happen? I say I wish that my master to this land shall not return. To this land shall not return. Your swords for his blood are thirsty, and fire for his women, and fire for his women. Hussein, I failed to get men for you, and today I seek forgiveness from you. Forgiveness from you. Master, don't let me die without forgiveness from you.